Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Week 9 review and looking at some picks here for Week 10 of the NFL season here on DraftKings. So getting right into it, looking at how we did last week is kind of a mixed bag. Favorite game stack of the week was looking at Dak Prescott, Dez Bryant coming back with Tyreek Hill. Feel like the process was pretty good here. The game turned out similarly to how I expected. However, this week was the most ever-changing slate of games I've ever seen from, say, Tuesday through Sunday morning. We had late news in the week that Zeke is now going to play. Deshaun Watson gets hurt. Then Sunday morning, we had Leonard Fournette out. We had Ertz get out. So just a kind of a crazy week with a lot of changing that opened up some value. Still, I thought Dez was still a little too cheap and liked him. Still played him quite a bit. So Dak expected 23 points, got us 26. Really had a great game, like we hoped. Dez did not, got a little hurt, banged up in this game, but did come back in. Was looking for 15 points, got us 13, so not great. Terrence Williams ended up catching 2 touchdowns. So again, the game kind of flowed as I expected. Just Dez did not, he wasn't the one that got the touchdowns. Tyreek hit exactly on his expected 15.3 points, which was fine. Most of that was on one crazy fluky play at the end of the first half, but we'll take it however we can get it. So those weren't too bad. Our tight ends, Tyler Higbee, came through and got a touchdown. That was a little risky play, low volume, but he did get his 7.8 points at his cheap price tag. That was just fine. Jack Doyle was hoping for 12.9, 13 points somewhere there. He got his 14.3, just continues to be a target monster. Hard to ignore what he's doing, what he's done, and his price still is pretty friendly. I mean, it's coming up, but he is somebody that we just can't seem to trust, even though his last 5 or 6 weeks he's just been he's been targeted so much. Cheap wide receivers, we're looking at Russell Shepard in lieu of the Kelvin Benjamin trade. Didn't quite pan out. He was looking at 8.7 points, only got us 1.1. Carolina it didn't quite go the way I expected. McCaffrey got a lot of work, which you kind of figure. But really just overall was very disappointed in that game. The value just did not open up. Maybe a little bit of a process mistake there too. Having not seen a lot of him. He had shown flashes and thought maybe he was one of the reasons why they felt comfortable making the trade, but just didn't work out. There's probably some better value that came open Sunday. I got a little bit off of him due to some of that value, but still had him around. Sammy Watkins, on the other hand, 9.6 was his expected, got 13.7. It all came on one catch, which is a really long touchdown. That Rams game went exactly as I was hoping. Sammy was not as involved. Gurley had a couple touchdowns. I believe Woods had a couple touchdowns. He had the one long one, so they just put up all kinds of points. Watkins may be a little unlucky not to get more points here, but still, we'll take what we can get. Now, the situation I was looking at in San Francisco was another one that didn't quite pan out, depending on what happened with Garcon. Garcon was actually put on IR and was out, so my hope was that would give Aldrick Robinson an opportunity. We were hoping for 7.5 points. He only got us 3.8. Goodwin was the other option if Garcon played. He got us 8.8, basically hit value, but overall they were out of sync. Didn't look good. It was a little bit of a high-risk situation, but trying to capitalize on something pre all the value that opened up this week. So overall, we'll keep refining the process. Felt like we did pretty good. Didn't have anything that absolutely smashed, but overall a profitable week. So let's look at this week's favorite game stack, and we're going back to a little bit of a unique stack, kind of a double stack here, and I like Ben Roethlisberger going to Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown and coming back with Jack Doyle here in this Pittsburgh-Indianapolis game. So 43.5 point Vegas total with a 10.5 point spread. Pittsburgh heavily favored here to put up some points. But I do feel like this Colts offense is not inept. I mean, it can produce some points and maybe keep this thing going to where they have to keep throwing for a little while. But we are attacking that Colts D again, right? Here we go, same old, same old. And last week, they looked a little better, but it was Tom Savage. Let's not mince words here. He's awful. He's maybe the worst quarterback starting in the NFL. So we go to Ben Roethlisberger. He's obviously a well above average quarterback. His major weapons. We're back to the Colts D and trying to attack them. And Juju has now emerged as a second option in Pittsburgh. Before their bye, had that huge game. He got 10 targets that game with a 32% target share or market share there. Plus he got a long touchdown. Looked good. The dude's blowing up. He's having a great time on social media. Everyone likes to be involved with this guy. I can see Roethlisberger kind of building a rapport with him. Just feel like against this Colts D, he's gonna have a field day. And Antonio Brown, what can you say? He continues to be targeted nearly double digits every game. He also had 10 targets in that game. So we have a concentrated target share here, right? These two guys are going to get a lot of the targets, if not, a vast majority of them. And Antonio's coming off a little bit of a down game. So what's better coming off a down game, going to a bye, you come out and you play the Colts. I mean, it couldn't be more of a perfect spot for him to come back, go off. So I do like both of these guys here going against the Colts. Now, Big Ben does struggle on the road, but it's just tough to ignore this Colts defense. I'm willing to take that risk. His home-road splits are significant, but the Colts defense, I think, can overcome that. Now, their offense has been running for the Colts through Jack Doyle. Since Brissett's been in there, he has been his go-to man. As I mentioned earlier, another 9 targets last week. And he's priced up some, but you know what? T.Y. was the story, right? They priced Jack Doyle up, but T.Y. caught 2 touchdowns. Everyone's talking about him. And here comes Jack Doyle just doing his thing. 8 for 63, didn't catch a touchdown, but you see his numbers there. 9, 14, 7, 11, 11. All he does is average, say, 9, 10 targets a game every week, consistently. So they're running through him. Brissett likes throwing to him. He's very efficient in how he catches the ball. He's the quarterback's best friend. I mean, it's a good spot to come back with. And they're going to be trailing, right? Colts are going to be trailing here, probably throwing a lot. I just love the volume he's getting. If I got to bring it back with anybody, I'm going a little unconventional with the 2 receiver, bringing it back with the tight end. But I just feel like that's where all the volume is going to be in this game, and that this could go a little bit higher than the Vegas total. So what are some tight ends I'm considering this week, especially on the cheap side? Well, number 1 is Garrett Selleck. So here we go again to San Francisco, but we're opening up some value. And I'm just trying to live the flowchart life. We've talked about this before. It used to be just with Cleveland, which was basically, is Cleveland playing this week? Oh, they are? Does the opposing team employ a tight end? They do. I'm playing that tight end against the Browns. The same exact logic goes for the Giants. They're just the 2 teams that are terrible against tight end. So this has a 41.5 point Vegas total with a 2.5 point spread here. And the Giants defense, going back to that, they've given up 19.6 DraftKings points per game to the tight end position this year. That's absurd. I mean, it's very bad. It's good for someone like Selleck, but Selleck's coming in, as a replacement for George Kittle. Kittle's out. Selleck comes in. We don't have a lot of targets, don't have a lot of history with him. So again, a little bit risky, but he's dirt cheap. He wasn't priced for being the starter this week, and he has a great matchup. So it's just hard to ignore. Have a little bit of savings. Let's us pay up for some running backs, maybe some more expensive wide receivers or quarterbacks if we want to. And that rookie quarterback there in Beathard, he may need some check down options, and I think Garrett Selleck can provide that here, getting his opportunity to start. So on the other side, I got to go with Eric Ebron, as much as it pains me to do this. I do not love Eric Ebron as a player. This game has a 43.5 point Vegas total with a 13 point spread. And we're going up against the Browns. Again, our flowchart life. They have given up 19.13 DK points per game to the tight end position. So again, both of them just terrible. Just can't stop it. And Ebron has a mixed bag on targets this year, right? You can see he's had 5, 7, 4, 4, 3, 6, 4. A little bit of a mixed bag, never quite as high as, say, a Jack Doyle. Look at his catches. They're down there as well, too. Only 1 touchdown here in the last 5 or 6 games. But the Cleveland defense is so bad against the position. All it takes is for him to get one. Again, both these guys are so cheap. The price tag is so low that all they really do, if they do catch a touchdown, they're probably going to be exceeding value for us. And again, it lets us get up to other spots. So I'm playing the matchup, hoping for the best. Both these guys are a little unproven to me. Ebron, I've seen what I've seen. He has a lot of drops. I don't love it. Selleck is kind of, he's played a little bit, but he's coming in as the backup, now a starter. So there's a little risk inherent here, but we got to play that flowchart life. So here's a couple wide receivers we need to look at cheaply. So number 1 is Adam Humphries. Again, we're looking for opportunity. It's not been priced up. This game has a 42.5 point Vegas total with a 2.5 point spread. And here we go. Mike Evans suspended after his little fight. Jameis Winston now. So we got Fitzmagic starting. And I always kind of like this situation where you've got kind of a third third wide receiver 3. Maybe he was doing a little bit with the backups in practice and the backup quarterback, right? They probably have done more practicing together than say, even some of the starters. And he has had Adam Humphries up to 10 targets in a game this season, right? So it's not like he's never been involved this year. He is. But now we've got a restricted target share because we lose Mike Evans, who in himself gets a lot of double-digit target games. So it's great news for a guy like Adam Humphries. The Jets' offense who they're playing against has been much better than expected. I think this game should exceed its total and should stay pretty close with that 2.5-point spread. And if that's the case, I think Adam Humphries is the guy that stands to benefit from that. He's only $3,100, so I feel like he has a potential for a big game, but if he doesn't, it doesn't hurt us that bad, right? He's not that expensive. It lets us do some other things if we need to, and he's in a good spot here that we need to take advantage of. Then there's Cooper Kupp. So this game has a 45.5 point Vegas total with an 11.5 point spread. The Rams are just ready to smash here, right? So their offense is on fire. But last week, I had Sammy Watkins in here who caught the big touchdown. Robert Woods, Goff went off. Cooper Kupp did not. Now, he got the targets, but he was kind of the forgotten man, right? He didn't have a touchdown, didn't have the big points. People aren't looking to play him because he doesn't have the sexy box score, but he's continually getting targets, and he's in a great spot for a bounce-back game to get into the touchdown, get into the box this week. And look, he only had 5 targets last week. Caught 3 for 54. Had kind of a down week. You're going to have some of those, but look, 7, 8, 10 is 3 of those last 5 games. That's something Sammy Watkins is not doing, right? So we like the volume. We got to have to ignore the touchdown column. Those will come. I just think it's a good spot for him to come back. In Houston, let's be honest, since they've come back for their bye and all the injuries, they've been exposed. Last week, they played the Colts. Okay, T.Y. Hilton, Jack Doyle, these huge games that they had. Why not Cooper Kupp, right? Cooper Kupp in a great spot here. A lot of people probably aren't going to click his name, so we get a little lower ownership. He's priced very well, a little bit higher than these, around $4,000, but still in a great spot on a great offense that's playing just peak level in the NFL. I want to get a little piece of this, and I want to do it at a lower ownership, so I'm looking at Cooper Kupp this week. So that's it. Hope you guys had a good week 9. Hope you have a great week 10 if you're playing. You can hit me up anytime on Twitter at @mplanup. You can follow me here on YouTube. You can like, subscribe, comment, whatever you'd like. Start the conversation. Appreciate everyone's views. We'll see you back here next week, reviewing week 10, looking at week 11. See you later.